Whose side are you on? In modern political discourse, this is the high-pressure question we can't seem to escape. Society pushes us into a rigid binary, forcing us to choose between two monolithic camps, often leaving the space for nuanced thought completely empty. This pressure is most intense when it involves human suffering. We see a righteous cause and feel a moral obligation to support it. But the justice of a cause is no guarantee that the people speaking on its behalf are acting in good faith. Every crisis creates political merchants. These figures adopt the language of a struggle, using the moral weight of a righteous cause to recruit followers. They don't speak as individuals. They represent a specific network trying to leverage that cause to pass a much larger, often hidden, political agenda. This creates the first half of a meticulously designed trap. If you criticize these merchants or question their methods, you are immediately accused of betraying the cause itself. In this binary world, skepticism of the leader is treated as an attack on justice. The second half of the trap is the price of admission. If you want to support the cause, the gatekeepers demand you accept their entire project. You are expected to swallow their methods and their worldview whole, effectively granting them a monopoly over the rights you want to defend. This leaves us in a state of political paralysis. When every path toward a just cause is guarded by an ideological gatekeeper demanding absolute loyalty, we are forced into an impossible choice: ignore the injustice or lend our strength to a movement that may eventually demand we surrender our own freedom. We try to escape this paralysis by rejecting the extreme in front of us. But here we hit the pendulum fallacy, the assumption that rejecting one ideological camp automatically enlists you in a service of its exact opposite. We can see the danger of political Islam and theocracy. When a group claims to hold a monopoly on divine authority to serve a political project, it creates an airtight system of control where dissent is treated as a moral failing. Opposing that system is a matter of basic human liberty. But rejecting the religious right does not mean you are required to join the radical left. You don't have to adopt the slogans of the opposing camp just to prove you've left the first one. These radical currents often move beyond advocating for rights and demand deep ideological shifts regarding the family and gender. For many, these changes represent an attempt to dissolve the traditional social units that have long anchored communities. It moves past individual equality and begins to insist on a new, rigid set of social prescriptions. Respecting the dignity and safety of every human being is a requirement of justice. That respect does not grant any group the right to force their specific concept of life or their ideological framework onto the rest of society. Swapping a religious authoritarianism for a progressive one isn't progress. It's just choosing a different flavor of ideological capture, trading one set of mandatory beliefs for another. Whether it's political Islam, radical progressivism, extreme nationalism, or communism, these seemingly opposed extremes all eventually rely on the same shared mechanism. They all share the same structural flaw: the attempt to build a utopia through the use of force. To build that perfect world, these systems require the individual to step aside. You are asked to permanently surrender your freedom and your right to be different, so the promised utopia can be realized. The ultimate outcome is consistent. The individual is stripped of their unique value and transformed into a mere cog in the vast machinery of the state, the party, or the movement. You can see this in historical communism, where the vision of a classless society required every person to fit perfectly into a single, party-defined mold. You see it in nationalist movements that demand total cultural uniformity, treating any sign of individuality as a threat to the strength of the nation. Because human beings are naturally free and creative, any system that requires compressing that diversity into a single ideological mold is guaranteed to fail. These projects carry the seeds of their own collapse because they are built in opposition to human nature itself. The antidote to the binary trap is a shift in perspective. We have to adopt a worldview where the individual human being, not the ideology, is the highest value. Under this rule, the state, the economy, and political thought have no value in themselves. They only have value to the extent that they serve human dignity and liberty. Any system that claims to be just while stripping away individual freedom is a contradiction. A truly legitimate system is one that protects the individual's ability to live, think, and foster their creative potential. The next time a crisis occurs and the pressure to pick a side mounts, don't ask, which camp am I supposed to join? Instead, run the claims of any cause or leader through a three-part framework to see if they actually value the human being. First, is the cause itself inherently just? Second, does the proposed solution preserve individual human dignity and freedom, or does it require you to give them up? And third, does this movement protect society, or is it trying to turn the public into a tool for a specific group's power? Integrity isn't found in a party line. It means standing with humanity first, and rejecting any system that asks you to sacrifice a human being for the sake of a slogan.